Hi, Joe Alton, MD here, also known as Dr. Bones of the survival medicine website doomandbloom.net, co-author of the Book Excellence Award-winning 4th edition of the Survival Medicine Handbook, and designer of quality medical kits at store.doomandbloom.net. Now, everybody's heard all about the overdose deaths from exposure to the street drug fentanyl. Now, how much do you really know about it? Why has it become so commonplace? What's the attraction? I want to spend a few minutes on this killer drug and a new drug called Tranq as well. It may seem like it came out of the blue to you, but I've known about fentanyl my entire medical career. My professional experience with it involved use during general anesthesia on my patients undergoing surgery or epidurals during labor. It's also been used for pain relief and sedation in battlefield casualties and cancer patients, sometimes given in the form of lollipops. Fentanyl became so popular that by 2017, it was the most frequently used synthetic opioid in medicine. In 2019, 2 years later, more than 1 million prescriptions for it were being written annually. And by 2 years after that, 2021, fentanyl accounted for more than 71,000 opioid overdose deaths in the United States. The vast majority of recent cases are linked to fentanyl from Mexico, which some say have raw materials that might have originated in China. Now, how much fentanyl is out there? The Department of Justice reported the seizure of more than 10.2 million fentanyl pills and approximately 980 pounds of fentanyl powder in the 5 months from May through September of last year. That's 5 months. What do they say? You catch about 10% of the drugs that go over the border, right? So we really have a lot of fentanyl out there. So why has a drug like fentanyl become widespread when it kills so many of its users? Well, for a drug dealer, fentanyl has some attributes that make it very preferable even to drugs like heroin. Fentanyl is more potent, acts faster, it's cheaper to produce, and it's easier to transport to the market in the form of pills or lozenges. It even comes in nasal sprays, eye drops, and even skin patches. It's so inexpensive it's often used to mix in with other, more expensive opiates, so a lot of users don't even know that they're taking it. For the user, fentanyl acts like other opioids, but on steroids. Once in the body, fentanyl attaches itself to nerve receptors that control pain response and emotions. The drug provides strong pain relief and creates an intense euphoric high due to the neurotransmitter dopamine. The high can last 12 hours or more. It's super addictive and leads to serious physical dependence in addition to the need for higher doses over time, that's called tolerance, to get the same high. As it can't be identified by sight, taste, or smell, it would require a lab analysis or special test strips to identify. Cutting drugs with fentanyl causes the user to inadvertently be given a dose much stronger than you ordinarily would have expected. Indeed, accidental exposure to fentanyl can be lethal in doses as low as 0.25 milligrams. That's tiny, much smaller than the size of a penny. As if we needed more bad news on the drug front, a common livestock sedative, street name Tranq, has made its way into other dangerous drugs like fentanyl. Also called xylazine, Tranq is used by veterinarians on cattle and horses to relieve pain, relax muscles, and sedate them for surgical procedures. It's not FDA approved for any purpose in human medicine, but it's not yet illegal. A prescription from a vet is all you need to get your own supply. Xylazine is not an opioid, but it acts like it. Like opioids, it's highly addictive, slows breathing and heart rate, and increases the risk of fatal overdoses. It causes the user to black out for hours, and once they come to, they immediately crave more. Tranq is unlike other drugs in one major way. It causes the formation of skin ulcers and abscesses, some of which are quite horrific. Many harden into painful, crusty, blackened sores called eschars. Indeed, some people call xylazine the zombie drug for the way its users look. The skin effects may even be so severe as to require amputation. Withdrawal from the drug is as bad as many narcotics, but xylazine is actually not an opioid. This is significant because you can reverse a fentanyl, heroin, morphine, or oxycodone overdose with naloxone, which is also called Narcan. You might not be able to revive a Tranq user with it, however. It's uncertain where street xylazine is originating today, but China, Mexico, India, and Russia are prime suspects. Some may also come from domestic manufacturers who supply veterinarians. And that's one of the difficulties associated with controlling xylazine distribution, the widespread nature of its use in veterinary practices. It's popular in large animal medicine to allow vets to stitch wounds, grind down molars, and treat damaged or infected hooves. Preserving the drug's access for veterinarians while shutting down supplies to drug dealers, that might be hard to do. Fentanyl and xylazine are just two of the many street drugs out there that are killing our citizens. As long as we don't have a policy that cuts down on its importation, expect more than 100,000 opioid overdose deaths every year. This is Joe Alton, MD, that old Dr. Bones, wishing you the best of health in good times or bad. Thanks for watching. Hey, learn more about off-grid medical topics in the 4th edition of the Survival Medicine Handbook, and get your family medically prepared with quality kits and individual supplies from our entire line at store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you did.